I'm gonna hit record and we'll just wait for everybody to hop on. So, welcome to your pod call, Team Ignite. Very exciting, very exciting. I was just looking for your surveys really quick, and then we're gonna get going. So here's what we're gonna do in this first initial call, and hopefully we'll get a chance for at least one more before the end of the month. I'm gonna ask each of you a couple questions. And you have 2 minutes to answer, so we can keep it on point. But the point of this call is to really set our focus and identify the things that are really holding us back so that we can move forward. And identify like individually why you guys feel like you're moving forward in some areas and maybe not in the other, and just open the discussion a little bit so that we can here you guys are, so that we can start making some good progress this year on your goals. So if you guys haven't put out your goal board for this year yet with your face and all the things you want to do or however you want to do it, then that's number one. You got to know where you're going. I know Trent has his. He sent me his goals. One of the things, and I'm just going to call this out. So I grouped you guys together. So Georgianne, Brandon, Trent, I think Michelle. Let's just make sure I have everybody that's on here, and Jamie. And I know you guys chose Trent as your leader, which I'm sure you didn't even choose. He was just like, I'm the leader. It's me. One thing that I've noticed about each of you guys is, well, we'll talk about that in a second. So I paired you guys together because you had similar financial goals. I think Jamie and Michelle were the ones who had, and Brandon. You guys had the higher financial goals. You want to be eventually making $500 or more a week. So the most basic, simple way that I can say this is you have to get past Emerald at least to hit that financial benchmark, because you cap out at 250 at Emerald. So if you even want to make that much money, that's something that's got to be number one priority this year in your business. One thing that you guys have working that's going to make it harder is that you guys have a lot of experience behind you, right? I put you guys together because you have the most experience behind you. And it's really going to take a lot for some of those old habits to break. I know Trent's having a major life shift. Michelle's having a major life shift, which is good. I mean, that's one of the things I think that's the hardest to really get through. But once you're through that part and you've come to sort of the realization that, oh my gosh, I have to start doing more drastic things to really propel myself forward on the path that I want to be on, then you're good. Then all it is just consistently doing it. That's it. One thing that I want to say, and I think that will be impactful for you guys especially, is I really believe that if you can be consistent for 4 months out of the year, you can change your entire year. If you can be consistent for 2 years, you can completely change your life. I think really understanding that mentality is key, and understanding really what you need. Do you want this year to be amazing, or are you trying to set yourself up for a different kind of life? And whichever you want to do is fine. If you really want to see what you're capable of in 2017, I challenge you guys to be consistent for 4 months straight, right? And just see what happens at that point. And once you're there, say, oh my gosh, look how much I've done. I'm going to do this again. So what I mean by consistency, because you guys don't have problems doing your workouts. That's one thing that this group is really strong with. You're good with your workouts. You're good with your fitness journey. That's not your struggle. Your struggle is discipline in the sales process and belief in the tools that we have to offer to help other people. You guys know that you can change your life, right? You know that you guys can put the work in. You're good at being responsible for what you are able to control. When you put that on somebody else, when you're like, oh my gosh, I have to take care of somebody else, that's where we're having a disconnect. And that's why we're where we are. So that's really what I want to talk about in this call. We're going to get that stuff out and we're going to move forward. So I'm just going to start. I don't think Jamie and Georgiana are on the call. So they can maybe just read back through the recording. Brandon, can you talk? I know you're not on video. Let me try and unmute you. Oh, there you are. Hi. So we're going to start with Brandon. Can you hear me? Yes? Brandon? Okay, I can't hear you, so unmute yourself. Michelle, we'll do you last whenever you can talk. So, Brandon, you're logged in twice. Maybe that's why. Here, I'm just going to unmute both of yours. Oh, just kidding. I can't hear you. We're going to start with Trent. And we'll figure out your audio. We'll figure out your audio. So we'll start with Trent. Okay, so Trent, I'm going to ask you 3 questions. Okay. You, on your survey, one of your goals was to create a community of people dedicated to helping others see the benefits of living a happy and healthy life, right? That is great. It's also vague. There's got to be something that is deeper than that. Everybody wants that. Everybody wants to create a community of people dedicated to helping other people see the healthy benefits of a healthy life. Everybody. That's why we're all here. What is it that makes you different? What's different about what you want to ultimately accomplish?
Well, obviously it's more, not necessarily broader, but I'd like to turn it more towards maybe locally. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Through different things and stuff, which I'm building that now through classes and through getting myself out there into the actual community for a change, and like how I used to be where I just posted like nonstop all day long.
Yeah.
So it's different in that regard. I'd like to build that, and of course I'd like to have the people that are like me, that have struggled, that are struggling to get where they want to go. I want to bring those people in and that type of thing. You know?
Okay, so I'm gonna rephrase this.
Okay.
That's what you want for other people.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want for you? What do you want to accomplish as a coach?
As a coach?
Yeah.
Obviously, ranked.
The question is, what would you ultimately want to accomplish as a team Beachbody coach?
6 figures.
6 figures. Hands down, that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
I can do that. I've done that. I know how to do that.
With that goal in mind, everything else would fall in place.
I think that with the right business building, that is just something that's going to come with it. One thing that I really want you guys to get is the income follows the action. The income happens as a perk. It happens as a bonus. It's just something that grows as you discipline and get consistent. And you guys know this, I was consistent with 2 things for 2 years straight. Remember, if you are consistent for 2 years, you can change your life. I signed up at least 2 coaches a month, no matter what. There was never 1 month in those 2 years that I didn't do that. And number 2, I hit Success Club. In 24 months, I built a 6-figure income doing those 2 things consistently. That's it. There was no, I'm tired this month. I don't want to do it this month. Oh, I only hit 4 this month. No. Every freaking month, I showed up. My bedtime was 2 a.m. My wake up time was 7 a.m. every day for 2 years. I want to really help you guys understand what it really takes. it's a lot of sacrifice. It's super hard. You miss out on stuff, right? But you have to think about it in a long-term perspective. I'm trying to change the course of my life right now. I'm going to take this little blip of time, this 2 years of my life, and I'm going to set my whole foundation, right? I'm going to figure out what I'm capable of. I'm going to be more disciplined. I'm going to become the person that I need to be to achieve these goals. So when you sit there and you dream out your dream board and you look at all these things and you look at all these goals that you want to set, I know that it feels impossible. I know that it's like, I don't even know where to start. I know that it's like, is this even going to happen for me? That doesn't matter. What your focus needs to be is I need to become the person that is going to accomplish all of these things. That's the journey and that's the goal. So for the next 2 years, that when you're struggling with yourself to be consistent, when you're tired, when you're struggling, when life is happening, that is what's going to see you through. That ultimate goal, not building that fitness community. You have that. That's the easy part. Building 6 figures is not easy. It's super hard. But what's amazing is that it's possible, right? And I will tell you that if I was like, Trent, you know what? I'm just going to give you a 6-figure salary to just keep doing what you're doing, motivating and inspiring people. Here you go. You would not appreciate it. You wouldn't get it, right? The success only means something because of the struggle. And that's true to your followers too. If they don't see that effort, that grind, that grit that you're having to put in every single day, they don't care about your success. What makes it inspiring and motivating is them seeing you struggle and push and have to fight for it, right? That's when they're like, oh my gosh, this guy is like changing my life right now because he's doing something that I'm going through. And look at him. He's online. He's working out. He's still doing all this stuff. He's online at 2 a.m. when I went to bed 10 hours ago. You know what I mean? Hungover from the night before or whatever it is. It's you. And here's the crazy thing, you guys. There are so many lazy people who just do the bare minimum or less. If you can just do a little more than them, you'll be way more successful. Just a little bit more. So a 6-figure income, it's not rocket science. What it is consistency and disciplining yourself enough to earn the income. It's really simple. It comes through the basic business building stuff that we talk about all the time. If you want your income to grow, you have to dedicate yourself to Success Club, not because of the points, but because you need to learn how to get product into people's hands and have people to coach. If you don't have people to coach and get results, you're never going to find those coaches who want to do this like you do. Because your coaches that are leaders like you and your coaches that are going to build this business and believe in what we do are your customers who got results from Beachbody. Not from going to the gym, not from running, not from CrossFit, not from yoga, from Beachbody, right? So when you guys are having those one-on-one conversations, and this is something that I know all of you are struggling with because that's why you're struggling with Success Club, that one-on-one invite. It's super easy to invite publicly. It's super hard to invite one-on-one. So that's one thing I wanted to talk about with all of you. But I think, Trent, honestly, that's the first time I've ever heard you give me something real in 4 years that like you actually want. The first time. And that's amazing. That's a big breakthrough, right? Can we all pat Trent on the back and be like, hallelujah, I have arrived, right? So here's my question for you. What is the biggest obstacle that's holding you back from achieving this goal?
Biggest obstacles myself, clearly.
But what part specifically about yourself?
It's just my sometimes my lack of focus, which I'm trying to work on through personal development and stuff like that to try to get that kind of squared away. But it's normally just a lack of focus and how I'm like freaking dog, and I'm just like here and there and everywhere. I just spread myself too
A
thin.
lack of focus, like on your ultimate vision that you lose sight of, or is it in the day-to-day, everyday mundane things that you get distracted?
It's kind of the day-to-day things when I get distracted, because I'll be doing one thing and then that will somehow lead to something else and then to something else, and I just get away from the one thing I needed to focus on to begin with, and I wind up over here in like left field.
So this goal of hitting 6 figures is the thing that I want you to come back to every day, because that's what's going to ground you and center you and focus you. If that's really what you want to accomplish in your life, just to see if you can do it, hands down, that will refocus you every day. So if you sit down and you're like, what the freak am I supposed to be doing right now? I want to get that 6-figure income. That means I need to be working on Success Club, and I need to be working on finding 2 coaches. That's it. Right? And every single time you'll get really good at getting focused in. This is the problem that I would say 99% of people have. That's why they never accomplish anything, because they can't ever put their mind to one thing to do it. Their mind's on 5 different things that they want to do, so they're all over the place. If you can zero in on one thing, right, that you truly want to accomplish, it will help you keep focused. So your task for this week is to figure out a way to refocus yourself. That's your goal. I've got to be able to figure out how to focus myself when I'm all over the place. Because I'm a freaking squirrel. If I can do this, Trent, then you can do this. Because I am all over the place. But I will tell you, this year, just like you said to me, I feel completely different than I have any other year as a coach. And it's because I get to help people reach their goals now. I've hit mine. And so it's a cool thing when you finally have something concrete to grasp. And I think that's why you're feeling a difference in how focused you are, because you do have something like that. So that's your goal, is to learn how to recover quickly when you fall off track. That's your goal this week. Second question, what is the one thing that you are willing to work for no matter what in your life? It doesn't even have to be Beachbody. What's something that you will always show up to, always work for, no matter what?
Well, barring injuries, my workouts, clearly, that's like super important to me, as you know.
But why do you do your workouts? What are you working for?
Just to be the healthiest I can, I guess, because, as I've told you before, and I've posted about it before, I got hurt myself back in August and didn't really know anything about it. And for 4 months, I was out of it. I mean, I didn't push myself. I felt horrible, and I gained weight back. But now that I'm healed up and everything, I guess I got to a point where I was taking it for granted.
Yeah.
Being able to do what I was doing. And then once I was hurt, and then one leg was hurt, then the other leg was hurt, and it was just a big, I don't know. It was a weird circumstance, because I didn't feel like myself. I didn't feel good at all. So now getting back to that has really shifted my mindset a little bit more, to be able to be like, I didn't do this for like 4 months, and now I know what I'm missing.
Right.
So it's just like a part of me was gone for 4 months, and now I know I have to show up, do everything I can every day.
I mean, it's that cliche thing, right? You don't know what you have until it's gone. I mean, it really is like as cliche as that, but it's so true. I never want to get to that point where I have to be taught that lesson. And I had that lesson all last year and all the year before. And I really believe, I don't know how spiritual you guys are, but I believe if you're going down a path that's not directing you towards your destiny and why you were put here, God will redirect you one way or the other. And he'll usually do it in a pretty drastic way, because people like you and me don't learn the easy way, right? He drops all these little hints like, you're going the wrong way, you're doing this the wrong way. And Jace doesn't get it because she's a squirrel and all over the place. So it's like, boom, here's the bomb. I'm going to stop you dead in your tracks until you get it. and I'm going to redirect you as many times as it takes until you get it. That's how I learned, the freaking hard way every time. And I'm learning to not let it get to that point so that I don't have to struggle that much. You know what I mean? But I think that perspective is good because it takes you back to when you still needed to lose 100 pounds. And I think that you work out because you don't ever want to go back to that.
Exactly.
That's why you do it.
Mm-hmm. Sure,
your health is important. Sure, all of that's important, but it's really about not being that person anymore. Right? Exactly. Our goal here with Beachbody and with ourselves always is to bring hope to other people that they can change. No matter how far gone you are, no matter how set in your ways you are, Beachbody has given me that confidence that people can change regardless of where they are, who they are right now. That's it. That's something that's not materialistic. That's not something that I can achieve. That's not something that goes away once it is achieved. It's something that is always there. And so that motivation and that drive for me to sell people product and for me to have those one-on-one conversations and for me to do the hard things is because ultimately that's what I want. I want people to feel that hope. I want them to taste what it feels like to actually change something that they don't like about themselves and they can make better, right? That has nothing to do with a dollar amount or a rank or any of those things. I achieve those things because the reason why I'm doing it is so much deeper and so much more grounded. And I think if you even thought about your goal of earning 6 figures and you said to yourself, why do I want to hit this goal? Is it something that I just want to do? Is it because people or even myself don't think that I would ever be able to do something like that? You know what I mean? For me, it was like I dropped out of college. Like, how am I ever going to do something like that? Like, it was 100% proving to myself that I could do something like that. And then once I did, I realized, again, just like from that show that's changing my life right now, you go from having limits to having no limits. And that's an incredible, freeing experience. Mm-hmm. So your last question, why are you a coach?
Why am I a coach? Well, because I had a really good why, at least I thought I did, back in August, July, something like that, because I was actually crying when I was talking about it. But like looking at where I was and how dark kind of everything was around me, or at least how it felt around me, and how deep in depression and stuff I was from back in 2005 or something like that to 2011, really. It was like 6 years of just a rough existence and not knowing who I was, what I wanted to do, how I wanted to do things, even where I wanted my life to go, to now being able to do things I want to do and all of that. I look back and see how hard life seemed to me at the time and how no one around me was really there to say, hey, you can do it, push yourself, whatever. There was no one there for that. And I kind of want to be that person that is there for those type of people that don't think that the universe, or thinks that the universe is out to get them and they don't have anyone in their life to support them in any way. And I know it's kind of, it may not be what you're looking for, but that's kind of the thing that I think about when I'm a coach.
No, I think that's exactly one of the reasons why I became a coach. And I used to say that all the time. I want to be that person's biggest cheerleader, because you're right. There are a lot of people who have no support and no one telling them that you can do whatever you want to do. You know what I mean? Sometimes you are that person's only support and you are that person's only way out. And that's it. They don't have anybody else. Not their spouse, not their family, not their friends, not their kids, nobody. everybody is fighting against them and wanting to see them fail instead of succeed, except for you. That is a really powerful experience to be able to have with someone. And I think it's a really unique connection that you can build with somebody. One thing that I will say really quickly, and then we're going to move on to Brandon really quick, is in the invite process, people fear the invite the most for some reason, for whatever reason. There's a million reasons. It actually doesn't even really matter what the reason is. I want to give you guys some perspective about this, because if you're avoiding the one-on-one invite process, you are missing the most impactful, beautiful part of what we do. You're missing out on the most rewarding part of what we do, which is when you have that conversation with somebody and they become extremely vulnerable and they say, look at what I've done to myself. And you get to say to them at that point, we're going to say goodbye to that person and we're going to become the person that you want to be. That moment in that one-on-one conversation before you invite them, right, when you make that connection with them, is the most powerful part of this process. It's not the sale, it's not the transaction, it's not even the transformation. It's that commitment. It's getting someone to that point where they go from not believing in themselves and not believing that they can do it to you helping them see that they can. And so many people miss that because they don't dive into the invite because of their own personal ego, fears, obstacles. Let it go. It's not about you, right? It's not about you. Get into that invite process and figure out that person's pain points. The easiest way to do that for me, like you guys know, tell me your story, right? And then actually read it and look at all the things that you can feel an emotional connection with and say, this is a pain point, this is a pain point, this is a pain point. What are you going to do to not feel like this and not be like this anymore? And guess what they say? I don't know. I don't know what to do. I've tried everything. Nobody's helping me. I don't have any support. And that's when you guys can say, are you willing to trust me? Are you willing to commit? Are you willing to work with me? Because if you are, I can get you where you want to go. And having that confidence and watching that process of somebody going from non-believing to believing that they can do something is everything that we do. That is when you guys get to witness yourself helping someone change their life, right? A lot of people think that it's, again, that transformation, that shout out to the new 5-star who just earned 6 figures, who just hit elite for the second time. That's not it, right? Those are life-changing things. But none of that would have happened without that life-changing conversation that initially happened on day one. It's the most important part. If you guys are skipping that, fearing that, avoiding that, no wonder you don't feel fulfilled. No wonder, right? I want you to crave that part of this process because that's the most beautiful part of what we do, okay? Brandon, let me see if I can get you unmuted. Okay, let's see.
Can you hear me?
Yay, yes. Okay, so Brandon, my lovely Brandon. Brandon came to me from Diane, who, as you guys all know, decided to go do another MLM and did not succeed and came back to Beachbody. Brandon's been a coach for 5 years. He has big goals, just like a lot of you guys. I just want to say this. I want nothing more than to see this specific group freaking fly. There's a lot of coaches that I'm like, we'll see. We'll see what they do. You guys, and I'm going to say this with the most love in my heart, have so much potential. But potential is the worst thing that you can have. It's the worst thing that you can have because people either tap into it or they just have potential. I don't want you to just have potential. I want you to tap into it and take action and actually live up to that potential, right? If you have somebody, just think about it this way. Like, who am I thinking? Like those pro NFL players who dog fight or like get caught with drugs or who like do all this stupid stuff, and you're like, what the freak are you doing? You have like a multi-million-dollar contract, you're freaking famous, you have this pro contract, and you're doing all this stuff, and you're like smoking weed and going to jail and ruining your whole entire life. Like, what the freaking freak are you doing? You know what I mean? That is potential being untapped. That is someone who does not connect and have intention with what they're doing with their life. That's somebody who's got a humongous ego, who doesn't understand their purpose here, right? And what happens to those people most of the time? They rehab. They do what happened to Trent. Holy shiz, my life just got taken away from me. I repent. I repent. I repent. And they spend the rest of their life trying to be a better person and make up for it, right? Again, we're trying to avoid going to jail. We're trying to avoid the bomb being dropped on our life, right? What we're here now to do is change little things, not big things, little things every day. Discipline, our own work ethic, deciding to do something when normally you wouldn't, right? So Brandon, you said you want to invite more, right? That's like your main thing that you want to do differently in 2017. What does that look like for you? What do you mean by that? How much more? How many more people? What is your vision of being able to invite the way that you want to?
It's mainly because a lot of people have problem finding people, whatever. But sometimes even with like, if I'm not feeling working out or whatever, even if I'm like, I think I have on like a baggy shirt or whatever, and I'm out at the store and someone's like, oh, you train, you do this or that. And it's like, I'm constantly being reminded, even when I'm like, whatever. And it's like, sometimes I sit down and think, it's like, it doesn't make any sense to be where I am. And like, even people like are just coming to me, like asking questions, and not being there for them is hurting myself and them.
Amen.
Like, it's, I think it's been a year and a half ago now, one of my friends killed himself, and I kind of took it personally because like, I think like a month before he messaged me about working out with him. And he was like tired of doing it on his own and everything. But it was the reason he killed himself was because of the things that was going on with his girlfriend. But I felt, when I heard it, I felt in my heart that if me and him had worked out, would have been at my apartment or whatever we did, that just talking and me like being a positive talker that I am, I felt that wouldn't happen. Is like, I felt like that is a sign that this is what I'm meant to do, and I got to reach out to more people to keep people from that situation. And there's like so many people, like I see it now more than ever, that are depressed, and you just wouldn't ever know unless you just really talk to them.
Do you ever share that story?
That's actually the first time I actually ever said it out loud.
So Mike's brother committed suicide last year, and I will tell you, as somebody who works every day to save people's lives instead of see them go to waste, I get that feeling. I'm getting emotional. Sorry. I get that pain. I get it. It's so hard. That is such a real struggle. And there are people that definitely need you. You know, and unless you're like willing to share that story and really pick people up when they are in that place, because Trent, you know what that place feels like. That's the other thing, is like, if you've dealt with depression, if you've dealt with those kinds of things, you see it from both sides. You know, you see how dark it can get, but you also can see the light. And I think that is definitely a wake-up call and a sign that you are here to share that light with people.
Yeah, and that's what I felt from it. That's one of the reasons why, no matter what happens or where I'm at with coaching or how I feel about it, I never let myself even think about not doing it or trying to find something else. It's like, even if it's some random thought in the back of my head, like I like it's like gone. I kill it like right that second, because I mean, there's just been too many things that's happened for me to even let that be a possibility.
I think that if you can take sort of that drive and just put your work ethic into it, I honestly believe, again, you can change your whole entire life. You know what I mean? Like, you actually have a real purpose. There's something some real work that you can do. That's, Beachbody is really just like your tool, and it's your mean to an end. It's how you're going to help people change their life. It's saying, and I've been talking about this a lot, there's a crazy cycle, right? With people. The crazy cycle comes from poor health, horrible financial situation, and stress. Those three things are what crush people again and again and again. And the thing that is so interesting, we have the cure for all three of those things: stress, physical health and how you feel about yourself, and financial freedom. All three of those things. And if you can really believe in that and say, you know what, I'm going to see if I can change my life physically. I'm going to see if I can take stress off myself and free myself financially with Beachbody. And then I'm going to show people that I'm doing it, because this is the main thing. If you talk about why you're doing something, right? And Brandon, you can get online today and say, you know what? I've had this opportunity in front of me and I've wasted it. There's been times when people have reached out to me and I didn't reach out back. There's been times where I have been uninterested or felt, unmotivated to take that extra step and actually help somebody. And let me tell you about my friend. And then I want you to share that story. And I want you to say, I will never be that kind of person again who misses an opportunity like that to help them and change their life. Because I know that what I have, exercise every day, living a healthy, happy lifestyle, is what makes people function better. It's what could have, and I think this to myself with my brother-in-law, what I could have done so many things. I could have motivated him every day. I could have sent him a million things, and the outcome may or may not have been the same, but that's something that cycles in my brain all the time, just like it does with you. And that's something we can't ever get back. It's just done. So instead of trying to, resent that situation, it's easier to really prevent that situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think if you talk about that, you're going to find some really incredible people who really do need you. And again, this is when it's not about selling product, right? This is when it's not about the challenge pack. This is when it's them saying, I'm going to try this and see if it works for me. So I'm going to buy the challenge pack, and I'm trusting you, Brandon, to help me stay accountable to it. And the change that happens is in that daily workout, right? Think about what's going on in your brain when you're working out. You're like, oh my gosh, I'm doing something that's bettering myself. You're physically doing something to make yourself better. That experience alone is what I want you to talk about in your one-on-one invites. This isn't about you sweating for 30 minutes and burning calories and losing weight. This is about you seeing what it feels like to take care of yourself and the benefits of what that can do for your life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some of the areas you said you wanted to improve this week are income, success club, personal development, and customer transformations. The awesome thing about that is that's our job. That's what we get to do every day. Every single day, we get to build income, gaining new customer transformations, making ourselves better, and finding people who need Beachbody. That's our job. Every day. So all of those things that you want to do this year, it's literally just a matter of being able to focus on your long-term goal long enough to reach those goals. Become that person that's going to reach those goals. That's your job this year, right? 2 years of consistency and you will change your entire life. How amazing would it be if 2 years from now, Brandon and Trent, regardless of what rank you are or leader ladder you are, any of that, if you are making 6 figures, helping somebody else make 6 figures, that's life changing. I don't care what anyone says. It brings a freedom to your life to be able to do good things. If you have more, you can give more, right? There's no materialistic or unworthy or, weird thing about chasing a dream like that, because it's not about the money. It's about the capability. And that's it. So that's one thing I want you to work on this week, is really getting in touch with that story and showing that more vulnerable side, and really putting out there what you're here for, what you feel like your purpose is, and talking about it every single day for the rest of the year, right? And refocusing yourself. This is one thing that I've been doing this year. I don't know if you guys have noticed on my Facebook page. I'm going through a pretty big transformation. You have to really do drastic things to change your patterns, right? So if you go on your Facebook and the very first thing you put out into the universe every day is your intention and your commitment to yourself, I'm here for this reason. This is what I'm doing today. This is why I'm here today. Period. Shut off, and then you get to work. Your focus will be so strong every day. You won't forget. The thing that you went through, Brandon, the thing that you've gone through, Trent, it's not something you forget, right? You don't forget what it feels like to be depressed. You don't forget that your friend took his own life. You don't forget shit like that. That's just something that's with you all the time. You don't have to refocus or be reminded of that pain. You know what it feels like. So when you guys are struggling and having hard times in this business, I want you to think about that pain and let you fuel yourself through those hard times, because Beachbody is not hard. Life is hard. Beachbody is the cure. It's the answer. It's the way that we're going to get from where we are right now to becoming the people that we need to be to impact people's lives, right? So that's your task for this week, is to really get in touch with that side of your story and put it out there. Can you do that?
Yes.
Okay. All right, Michelle, can you talk, or are you on the train still? Or are you still there?
Yes, I can talk.
Okay.
Yeah, and so our train lost power, so I'm having to Uber it up the street. So I'm just in the middle of transit.
Perfect.
Yeah. So is anybody else that can chat while I just while I get on my app and do Uber real quick?
Yes. So I'll just kind of go through what she wrote on hers. So if you guys haven't been following Michelle, she's been a coach for 3 years. I know her and Trent are success partners. I want you guys to be pod partners, though, because I think that this is an amazing group. And one of the reasons why I do this call the way that I do is so that you guys can hear each other's stories and know where you're coming from. Because at the end of the day, like, again, it doesn't freaking matter like what anyone accomplishes as long as everybody's getting to where they want to be, right? And we can help each other do that. So Michelle wants to earn 500 plus a week too. She wants this to be her gig. She wants Beachbody to be it. She said she does better with daily accountability. Georgianne said weekly. Jamie said weekly. Have you guys got in touch with Jamie? Okay. Brandon said daily accountability, and so did Trent. This is interesting. All of you guys are daily accountability kind of people, right? Which is awesome, because all of you need that. So all of you can provide that for each other. The cool thing and the struggle that I think you guys are going to have is learning how to be accountable to yourself. Because I'm telling you right now, there's not one day, one year where somebody's going to be there for you all the time. It's not possible. So on those days, you're going to have to learn how to become self-accountable and stay focused. That power hour list that I gave you guys, on the days where you're like super chaotic and you're not feeling it, do that list and be done. And at least, and don't skip anything on the list or it won't work. But if you stick to that, right, on those bare minimum days, you'll at least maintain what you've built. And then you can build and grow and push and all that stuff every other day, right? Okay, so Michelle, your ultimate goal would to be an elite and be a member of the local council.
Yes.
So elite is 100% about the success of your coaches. So number one would be gaining customers to help them believe in Beachbody and become coaches and help those coaches believe in themselves. That's elite. So it might feel like a super long journey, but I'm telling you, like, again, Darcy last year, you guys, if you remember, she was Emerald in January. She ended the year at 1 star, she made more than she makes at her full-time nursing job with Beachbody in 1 year, in 12 months. 12 months, okay? She is pushing for elite this year. So Michelle, if you want to do that, if we can set you up for the ability to push for that goal in January of 2018, and that can be our main focus next year, awesome. It may seem far away, but it's not, right? Putting in that groundwork and that, again, being consistent for 2 years, you will change your life. That's what I want you guys wrapping your brain around. Consistency for 2 years, and I will change my life. Every time you want to quit, give up, don't want to invite, that's what I want you to think. So what do you think is your biggest obstacle that's holding you back from achieving your goals right now as a coach?
Honestly, hold on one second. No, yes, I am. But you want to go south on, unfortunately, Google Maps doesn't have our building yet. So can you just go south on Highway 101 and we can direct you from there? You're going to La Jolla, UCSD? Yeah, UCSD campus. Okay, sorry.
Okay.
I think it's sharing my story and just being open and raw. And I say that because I've, one of my co-survivors.
Oh, she cut out. We lost you. I can't hear her anymore. You guys know that Michelle went through cancer, right? And survived. That's probably there.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, I can hear you now.
Oh, sorry. My phone was ringing. So one of my friends has asked me to help coach her one-on-one. And so I'm doing that through Messenger right now. And I've realized that she's got an issue with food. And right now I do too. I think it's hormonal. So I'm trying to work with the doctor to fix that. But by me not sharing my story, I feel like I've been holding myself back, like not being true to myself.
Yeah.
And so, I'm going through a massive transformation right now, and I feel like this is part of my journey. So I'm just going to learn to be more, I'm focused on being more open about my journey.
Yeah. It's really
because there are others out there that are struggling too. And it's like you've shared with the guys right now. The more open and honest and I guess visible you are with your life and your struggles, there's people out there that are going through the same exact thing, and you're going to touch somebody somehow.
Well, and the thing that I've really been trying to take into heart is when I share my struggle, I attract people with the same struggle. But what's cool about that is I know how to help those people.
Right.
People who have struggles that I've never had, it's a lot harder for me to be like, I got you. I know what to do. You want to just put this back and play? And so I think as hard as it is to be vulnerable, like I will tell you, I've found the most amazing, incredible people from those posts that I deleted 5 times and didn't want to share. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I think you have people in your life for a specific reason all the time. Like I could tell each of you why you're in my life. There's a specific reason. So I think what will help you with this, Michelle, at least what helps me with trying to be more open and less private and less, what's the word? Introverted.
Yes.
Is just being real with what's happening and what I'm feeling today. I don't think about trying to tell my whole story or like remind people of all the things that I've done or gone through or accomplished or whatever. I focus on what is happening right this second in my brain and what I'm struggling with and what I'm doing to fix it. That is the most important part. When you guys share your struggle, you're sharing also the cure. You're not just sharing the struggle, but you're saying, this is all the stuff that I'm going through, but I'm doing this and this and this, and it's helping me. And you don't even have to say, so if you do it too, then it will help you too. That's not the lesson. The lesson is just them seeing you do it and taking action of those things. So, comic relief. I was going to say, Trent keeps me on my toes more than anybody else. But I don't think, Michelle, that is your number one obstacle. I think that maybe once was. I don't think that it is anymore. I think that you've broken some of those barriers down. I've seen a transformation of strength in you and just a difference in your urgency to not be affected by other people and those things like that anymore. And, you know, at the end of the day, like, if you can live your life unaffected by comparison and unaffected by this idea that you're not good enough to succeed or you can't sell or you're not a good coach or you're not consistent, and you can let go of all those labels that have either been placed on you or you've placed on yourself or you've thought that other people think about you, and you just let them all go and you say, oh, I'm a freaking 15-star diamond coach in the making. That's what I am. That's where I'll be, and that's what I'm trying to become. You know what I mean? Because again,
yes. So where would you see my obstacle right now from where you sit? Because I'm obviously missing it.
I don't really see you with obstacles right now.
Oh, fantastic.
That's really the most beautiful part about this, right? I don't see those obstacles anymore. I think at some point they were there for all of you. I'm really trying to not focus on that, because there's always going to be obstacles in everyone's life. I have tremendous obstacles, but those obstacles aren't the things that are going to keep me from my success anymore. And they're not the things that I'm going to focus and, you know, get stuck on with the people that I'm trying to help anymore either. We're not here to just pinpoint our obstacles. We're here to empower each other to do better. And I don't think that any of us have obstacles big enough to keep us from what we are here to do. There's no obstacle that's too big to keep us from helping another.
I love it.
So hopefully that is freeing in some manner. The very last question, and then I'll let you guys go, and we'll set up our next pod call for next week. Why are you a coach?
I feel that at the end of the day, I was meant to leave a legacy, and that eventually may be a financial one, but right now for me, it's more of one of motivation and inspiration and touching people's lives. That's the legacy that I choose to leave. So I'm building my legacy.
So I never really connected with that. When people would say, I want to leave a legacy, like, I'm like, oh, that sounds cool. I don't really get that. Like, I don't really know what I would want my legacy to be until my grandma passed away this year. And I went to her funeral, and I'm telling you guys, the most beautiful things were talked about her. Like, about who she was as a person. And just who and what she stood for and all of these things. It wasn't even all the things that she accomplished or anything like that. It was the impact that she had on every person that knew her. To me, I was like, that's what I want. I want that to be my legacy. That when I die, people are happy for me, but they're sad to see me go because of the impact that I had in their life. And I love that. I love that that is a big part of your journey, because you know, if that's something that you really can gain perspective on now, and you can start living that way and say, I'm leaving these little blueprints and starting to work towards what I ultimately want to be known for, awesome. You have control over that, you know? So I love that. That's great. I hope that this call helped a little bit. I think that it'll sink in a little through this week as you kind of work on your things. I want you guys to really lean into that invite process and think about what I said as far as that being one of the most impactful, powerful, beautiful parts of what we do. Because if you can really make that connection with that part of our business, with the invite, the thing that gets you everywhere you want to go, and you can be fueled and energized by those conversations and by seeking those invites. Just think if you all of a sudden woke up every day and were like, I cannot wait to invite one more person. Instead of what you felt all this time, I'm scared, I don't want to do it, I don't want to be salesy. I hope that we've eliminated all that, because it's not about.
I feel like you have, yes.
Good. I want you guys to be energized and fueled by that invite process, because that is ultimately what you guys are here for, to change people's lives. And that's when it happens. Okay. I love you. Let's set up a call for next week. And thanks for taking an hour of your time. I don't ever know why I think these are going to be 30 minutes, but hopefully next week we'll follow up with some of these assignments and we'll have made some progress. So I love you, and we'll talk to you guys soon.